think grand. Join us in the conversation. We would love to talk to you about what you guys think about depression. Do you think it's genetics? Do you think it's just something that people make up? Do you think it's something that people talk about? Do you think it's a chemical imbalance? What do you think about depression? We want to know your opinions. We want to be able to help you. We want to bring awareness to this very important topic. It's a very, very important topic, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So why don't we start with pulling aside Erin, who's very generously volunteered to come talk to me. She's a student at UCLA. Erin, come on down. So Erin, what do you think depression is?
Well, I think depression is definitely, it's physical, like it's not something that's made up.
Right.
I think that it's more than just being sad about something.
Okay.
Depression is definitely about like having motivation, not being able to get up. It's definitely a feeling that's very, like you feel alone.
Yeah.
Something.
So you would say it's a chemical? Do you think it's genetic? Do you think that it's something that is treatable?
I think that, from my point of view, I think that it is somewhat chemical, although I think that there's environmental factors that go into it. I don't know if it's genetic, but I would hope that it's treatable.
Yeah, so what we're doing here is we're trying to bring awareness to depression. We want people to talk about depression because we think that right now people don't really want to talk about it. It's not something that's like a buzz topic. You know, you hear mental health and people say, oh, I don't want to talk about mental health. You know, they use that as they're scared to talk about it. But we're trying to bring awareness to it this month so that people do want to talk about it, so that people share their opinions, so that people that are depressed or that have these feelings of hopelessness can come and talk to people, and that they can come and really, they can get advice from people that have been there, advice from people to know what it's about and to learn about what we're doing. And what do you think, is there any way that you could shout out to everyone on Periscope about you know, who you are, what your major is?
Just like my name? Or...
Sure. Well, you're Erin. What are you majoring in?
Biochem.
Biochem.
Yeah.
So see, Erin is majoring in biochem. So as a scientist, Erin, you know how important this topic is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a really important topic, and it's good to know that we have people that we can talk to on campus at UCLA that actually are bringing awareness to these kind of things, and that, you know, you have to think some people don't even think it's a real issue. So thank you so much for your time, Erin, and we love talking to you, and we can't wait to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got Erica.
Yay! So we have Erica. Come on down, Erica.
You need to do better than that.
Come on down, Erica. I'm Rachel, and this is baby Adora. Yeah. We bring her to make it a little bit easier to talk to people. What are you studying?
I'm studying psychology.
Psychology.
Yeah.
So this is depression is a topic that is close to your major. You guys probably talk about this a lot in psychology, right?
Yeah, I think we do. I haven't gotten to like my major division classes, but I mean, I'm really interested in mental health, and I think it's important.
And did you know May is Mental Health Awareness Month? What do you think depression is?
I think depression is a combination of like just things going on in your chemistry and your brain chemistry, and also they kind of like the external behavior that you exhibit, like maybe feeling low energy and no motivation, and just a combination of different things that make it difficult to just do everyday things.
Right. And so what we're trying to do here is raise awareness this month for obviously mental health awareness, but also to let people know that we're doing research on genetics. And I know as in psychology, as a scientist, you do study genetics. Do you have to take a genetics class? Is it in your program?
Yeah, I think I might have to take one down the line.
Okay, so you'll learn about genetics, and we're studying that depression could be genetic. Do you think that it could be genetic, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think that's definitely possible. Just as with other mental health illnesses, like schizophrenia and bipolar, like you have to do a lot with your genetics and you know how your parents maybe were affected by some of those things and what that means for you. So I think there's definitely a chance, and that's the same thing with like anxiety and depression.
And anxiety and depression are two things that we're definitely studying with this challenge. We want to kind of just get the word out to everyone so that people aren't afraid to talk about mental health and people aren't afraid to talk about depression, because it seems like such a passé, topic. People don't really want to talk about it, right? You see, if there's like a mental health building, you don't necessarily want to go to it because people don't yet feel comfortable with that.
Right.
Why do you think there's that stigma when you see mental health? What can we do to change the stigma and to change people's opinions on it?
I think a big thing is not knowing, and the fact that there's not a lot of information out there is kind of vague right now. Like, oh, you might have these symptoms and this and that. It's not like a physical illness where like you can go to a doctor and be diagnosed, and there's like a lot more information for physical illness. But it's also really important to just make sure to let people know that everyone has mental health.
Right.
You might not have an illness, but there's like ups and downs all the time for anyone. And so regardless of whether you're diagnosed or not, everyone has, different good days, bad days, a lot of mental activity. It's very important.
So what you're saying is that you could actually go to a mental health building and just focus on yourself. Maybe you don't even think you have depression, you are not clinically depressed, and you could just go there so that you know that there's somewhere to go where you can just kind of talk to people and talk to someone, because like you said, everyone has good and bad days. We know more than ever on university campuses. You could get an F on a test, you have a really bad day. You could, have anything kind of happen. It's a university. You're in your 20s. Who knows what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So this is part of the importance of what we're doing here.
Yeah. I think especially for college-age students, the onset of a lot of illnesses are from like 18 to 25 years of age. And this is a really important time. There's a lot of changes going on in our lives. A lot of big events in our lives, like finding partners, education, career choices, and so it's very. I think it's important. It should be up there in priorities.
Yeah. And what would make you want to go to a mental health building if you knew that there was someone there you could talk to, or if you knew, even if you didn't think you had any clinical depression or clinical anxiety, just being a college student, what would help you to actually take steps and motivate you to go into that building?
I actually do go to that building.
Oh, perfect. See, look at her.
Yeah.
Well, you're in psychology.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had a history of mental illness in my family. So my mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So I've seen what it's like to live in, an environment like that, and honestly affects everyone in the home.
It does, absolutely.
And so if you care about your friends, and if you care about, the places that you're at, like you want to be okay, So I think that should motivate others. If you care about others in your community, like take care of yourself as well.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself is really important. And with your mother's diagnosis, thank you for sharing that with us. That's huge that you shared that. So what helped you when you were growing up? Because like you said, that people with depression, they have families, they have, partners, they have friends, they might, who knows, you can see anyone could be depressed. What helps people, or what can motivate them to, feel okay about their life and their family?
I think a big thing for me was just accepting, and not being afraid of, mental illness and treating it, because everyone has ailments, throughout their life, and this is mental, but it shouldn't keep people from talking about it. And so I think something that helped me at least was to just be open about it, and understand that maybe people don't know what schizophrenia is, but if they care about me and want to support me, they will listen and try to understand as best as they can.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's been a big thing, and just seeking support
For yourself. And what about helping out your mother?
Well, at the moment, my mother doesn't really want help and all of that, and so I think a priority for us has been the younger siblings, and to make sure that they're doing okay. And that's going to be part of my future plans, to try to kind of bring up the conversation again with my mother. And we are, we're like a low-income Latino family, and so there's not talk about that. And there's also cultural things that play a part, and so like for my family, like they don't really know about it, and it's much more stigmatized, I think. And so a big thing for me is like just creating conversations, and kind of taking the knowledge that I have and kind of tailoring it to maybe some people who don't have as much as education. but I think that there's just basic human things that we can understand, like, you know, making sure that we're okay and we have someone to talk to, and accepting ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you mentioned something I think is really important. You said that it's a cultural thing and that people don't really talk about it in your culture. So how do you get people that have that feeling, they're raised this way their whole entire lives, you know, it's certain things and people are raised with, and how do you get people to talk about it and to accept this about themselves or about a loved one when it's something that they don't want to culturally talk about, or they think they can't talk about it, you know, they think it might be wrong or whatever. How do you get people out of that?
I think it's important to kind of get out of like a comfort zone and just put it in different ways, like present it differently. Whether that may be like little commercials here and there, or having community things that are like, oh, come bring your children to paint. That's a really big self-care thing that might implicate some, you know, like mental health, just like well-being activities and more mindfulness and things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, go talk to a therapist and you know, go seek
being in community and just kind of being there for someone.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like just bringing in people and, you know, having support. That's important.
Thank you so much. You've been so helpful. I mean, honestly, who knew that we would be able to talk so much about this and so in depth? We don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're like a student, probably have to go to class, all that good stuff. But thank you so much for your help.
I actually have a research project that I'm working on.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna go work on that now.
Well, good luck. I know that you'll do an amazing job at it because you're amazing here. So
thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Have a good day.
Adora says thank you too. Thank you.
Is she asleep in there?
Yeah, she's sleeping.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
This is great. I'm glad to see this on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to bring, you know, this topic up with people.
Oh yeah. I hope more people come along.
Yeah, oh they will, I'm sure. Well, we're here for a few hours. So thank you. Have a good day.
And that's it. I mean,
It's really cool to see that people, you know, are dealing with this every day, and like she said, it was a cultural thing, and it's not just something that people, you know, it's mental health is so important and nobody really wants to talk about it, and it's so important to see people that are actually open to talking about it, because those are the people, that's how you're going to get this movement open, and that's how you're going to get people talking about it, and that's what's going to really make a difference. That's why we want you guys to join in the conversation. Hashtag Blue for Hope or hashtag Think Grand, and ask us your questions. We'll be checking them. Brendon is on hashtag duty over there.
Okay.
Anytime someone hashtags, yes, Think Grand, and they have questions, you have to be. But, you know, she brings up a great point that it's a cultural thing. Some people are just raised where they think they can't talk about this. They think it's not a real issue. They think it's something that is made up, or, you know, something that we want to just bring attention to that, bring awareness to that, and that's why we're here. That's why we want you guys to get involved on Periscope, and that's why we have some more beautiful ladies. Come on down. Come on down. I feel like a game show host. Hey ladies, come on down. So I'm Rachel, and what are your names? Cecilia, nice to meet you. Emma? Hema, nice to meet you. Hema and Cecilia. Well, come on, we're right here. I guess we can really be wherever we want to be, but this has been our little square. So you ladies are students at UCLA, undergrads?
Just visiting from Berkeley.
Oh, nice, Berkeley. Good for you, girlfriend. Do you watch the show Silicon Valley? Oh my gosh. Okay, we have to start watching. Berkeley's in San Francisco, right?
Well, that area.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, totally. You should, yeah. Close enough. Okay. And you're an undergrad at UCLA?
Yes.
Nice. And what are you studying?
I'm studying psychology.
Psychology. We have a lot of people studying psychology today.
France is right here.
Right, okay, that's why. That makes total sense. And what are you studying at Berkeley?
Legal studies?
Legal studies. Look at you guys could be like a team. You could like be the psychologist and you'll help people out with their legal problems.
We're already planning it.
Right? Oh, perfect. See, I love it. Are you sisters?
No.
No? Oh my gosh, are just best friends?
Yeah. middle school.
From middle school?
Middle school.
Oh, you girls are so cute. To see when you do everything together. It's perfect. So what we're doing here today is we are trying to get people to talk about the issue of depression. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we want to bring awareness to depression, to anxiety, some of these mental health things, because there's such a stigma. People don't want to talk about them. Some people don't think they're real. Some people think that, some people think it's genetic. Some people think it's chemical imbalances. You've heard someone say, oh, I'm so depressed. I just failed my, physics test or whatever. Maybe they're not really depressed, but what do you think depression is?
I feel like that's a difficult concept, to understand, because you don't really know what it is. I feel like if we understood it, we'd be able to help people. I don't want to use the word deal with it, because deal with it makes it seem like it's a bad thing, and it's not. It's just something
To work through?
Yeah, to work through, right? So it's I feel like depression is when you don't know how you feel. You don't know what to do about the way you feel. And you don't like that way.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it.
Right, absolutely. And what do you think of the depression?
Maybe when you're in school, if you just feel with everything that's going on, you just feel unmotivated or something like that, or alone.
Yeah.
And you're just what do I do? I don't know.
Well, what if there was somewhere that you could go that was some sort of counseling, or somewhere you could go just to talk to someone or be in part of a community group? Would you encourage other people to go to that, and would you go to that yourselves? And what would make you actually motivate you to go to that kind of group? Because you could have a group, or you could have a building that says mental health on it, but what would actually motivate you, or do you think motivate your friends to go to something like that?
I feel like people should definitely go, but I also feel that because of the stigma, a lot of people won't go and don't want to go, because I feel like we take the word depression so like you said, oh, I'm depressed because I failed this,
right?
And when people say it seriously, depending I feel like depending on your culture, sometimes it could be stop wanting attention,
right?
And it's not taken seriously.
Right. Yeah, and you bring up something that we've just been talking about with culture, that a lot of people, it is such a cultural issue, because a lot of people are raised where they can't say they're depressed, where people say, oh, you're depressed, get over it, So what can we do to change that stigma? What can we do while you're at UCLA, you're at Berkeley, we're, millennials, as they say. We're here, we're the next generation. We can make a change and make a difference. What can we do to make a difference with this topic of depression or this stigma against it?
I feel like this is a great first step right here. Asking people what they think it is.
Yeah.
It's good, I feel like working on the older generation as well, because I feel like some teenagers are afraid to tell their parents, because their parents they don't know what depression is. So no, you just I don't even know what the word is. To be honest,
They think they're sad or something. Yeah. Or being a baby.
Dramatic,
right?
Wanting attention, not wanting to do schoolwork.
Right.
When in reality, it's I can't focus.
Right, absolutely. And what about for you? What do you think we can do to change the stigma?
Yeah, the same thing, having giving parents open to it, having, I guess, more students open to it, because like you said, they judge, maybe other students judge each other, if they see them going,
right.
to, let's say, I don't know what the center is here that you go to, but over there in Berkeley, whatever center that we go to, and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess being open to more students and people talking about it.
So what are some that you should ask them, why do they feel depressed?
Okay.
What's the
why
reason behind it, and then go on from there.
And just being an open and honest friend sometimes.
And not judging as well. Not
judging,
oh, you're
absolutely.
depressed, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you think of any other buzzwords?
I just listening to them, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. And just have them talk to you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Without judging.
Without judging. Yeah, that's important. So remember, don't judge, and ask why they feel a certain way. What is motivating them to say that they feel depressed, or what can we do to get them out of their shell, to help them? Because as your friends, you want to help them, or with yourself, If we had some sort of online forum that you could fill out with a questionnaire, would you girls do it, or would you think that you didn't need to do it so you wouldn't go look at it?
I feel like I would.
You would.
Yeah. I also feel like going back a little bit, I feel like we should encourage people not to be afraid and to like
Absolutely.
do things for them
Encourage
first.
people not to be afraid.
Yeah, rather than think about like what other people are gonna think. Like help yourself
Absolutely.
first.
Right,
And then-
absolutely. And then you can
Yeah.
maybe help other people. Yeah.
I
I was like, yeah, I totally agree. I'm not a psychologist. Hey, legal studies, you're kind of a psychologist. So, well, thank you so much, girls. I'm sure you have classes to get to and exams and final presentations.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
we
so
do.
fun. And have a fun time visiting us. It's a little warmer here, right?
And thank you for doing this.
Of
I feel
course,
like this
yeah.
is really helping.
Yeah, no, this is great. We're really excited to bring awareness to mental health, like I said, and we just kind of want people to see, you know, if there's a group of people around, people are like, what are they talking about? That's just that. Even that is just a way to bring awareness to people and to talk, to get the conversation started, which is what we're doing, trying to get the conversation started. So make sure. I sound like a PBS person. Make sure you hashtag Blue for Hope or hashtag Think Grand. Get the conversation started on Twitter, on Instagram, on Periscope, so that we can talk to you guys and answer all of your questions. And let's see if Brendon, do we have any questions from Periscope or Twitter?
Yes, somebody.
Let's just do this again.
Hashtag Think Grand.
Okay. Let me check. How prevalent is depression in males and females?
That is a good question.
It is actually about twice as high in females than it is in males. So this is definitely an important issue for females, just as even more so, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And-
females are-
Someone brought up a good point that she brought up a good point that you know, maybe that females are coming forward more than males, and so this is an issue. It doesn't matter what your sex is, it doesn't matter what your cultural background is. It's an issue for everyone, and that's something important to bring up. Thanks, girls. Well, you girls are the best. Have fun. Good luck, and thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Oh, are there?
We have
Rach.
Gigi.
So we just want to say, because this was something very important, if you are somebody that does need help and maybe it's looking for somebody to call, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. It's 1-800-273-8255. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And of course, we are complaining that number is not easily accessible enough for anyone, right?
Right.
Because if we have a medical emergency, you can dial 911, but what happens when you have a mental health emergency?
That's absolutely true. And the stigma behind the mental health emergencies, if you called that number, would people actually even call the number? So there is something that needs to be done about that and needs to be changed. That there should be a number that people can call.
Absolutely. All right,
I think we
girls
have
wanna come
a.
on?
You might have
When
to
you wanna
take
come
over
in?
for a second.
Yeah?
Because we have a little baby.
Okay.
A babe emergency.
All right.
Excuse me.
Well, that's something I cannot help out with, unfortunately.
Gigi, who's studying sociology. And Kayla,
All right.
who's studying
Sorry, whose phone was
psychology.
this? Hey, so girls, one more time, because I am horrible with names. I already told you this. But introduce yourself one more time.
I'm Gigi. I'm studying sociology and film and television.
And speak up because the mic isn't on.
Oh, okay.
It's just a prop.
I'm Gigi. I'm studying sociology and film and television.
All right.
I'm Elena. I'm studying neuroscience.
All right.
I'm Kayla. I'm studying psychology.
And Kayla is a Big Brother fan. We won't say that. We won't mention it.
Big Brother fan. Oh my gosh.
So now, I mean, this is really just, I think the importance of overall, because when we first got involved with this, my biggest question was, what is depression? Do people even know? Do we understand what depression is? I mean, what do you girls think? I mean, first of all, here, what is depression?
I think it's just like a layman's definition. I would say it's a mental illness where it's not just feeling sad, it's also just not feeling anything. It's kind of just, it's really hard to explain, but it's a loss of motivation, it's feeling really tired, it's feeling like you can't do anything right. So it's really just super, it's like all of the horrible feelings and just not feeling anything at all that people feel, but all at once and for a long period of time.
And what do you think?
Yeah, I think Gigi really hit on it pretty well, but yeah, I think that because the reason why it's so hard to like describe is because it could be like different things to different people. You never really know what the person is feeling unless you're actually experiencing it yourself. Yeah, it just could be like a whole range of emotions or a lack of thereof. Yeah, I think very hard to diagnose and to treat too.
And Gil, what do you think?
I definitely agree with like what they say. You know, it's something that's very difficult to, you know, understand and, you know, to relate to if somebody's going through it. But, you know, you really have to push those barriers, and that's what's so important about the education about mental illness itself, and especially depression, you know, getting over the stigmas of it and kind of, you know, connecting to other people.
So I guess my biggest, and we talked a little bit about this off Periscope, but for you, because I remember as an undergrad, I mean, many moons ago, I mean, if I had a problem, I guess if I felt like I was even thinking or considering suicide, I honestly don't even know who I would call. I mean, you girls, who would you call? I mean, who would you reach out to?
I would probably reach out to either my mom or my sister or my best friend here in school. She's actually my roommate. And so those are the three people that I would reach out to. You know, my mom and my sister don't live here, so they aren't as helpful. But, you know, earlier on, before I made a strong friends, especially when I was a freshman, there would be nobody here at UCLA that I would have wanted to talk to, because when you're first starting out, you don't know anybody, and so.
And do you feel like you're less likely to call somebody if they are far away? I mean, do you feel like you're? I guess what I always wondered, do we feel like we're burdening people with our problems? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you think? What about reaching out? I mean, where would you?
Yeah, I'd probably reach out to those closest to me, just because they might understand me better than someone who I don't know of. Like, I mean, we have CAPS here.
And what is CAPS?
It's just I can't remember what it stands for, but
Nobody ever remembers what any.
Counseling and psychological services.
Yeah,
There we go.
psychological services. That one. Yeah, so they're just there to provide counseling for anything, like a broad range of things. But yeah, I might not feel as comfortable in reaching out to them, because I mean, I feel like maybe they don't understand me very well, or but I mean, I know they have a lot of the resources that could help me out too. So yeah, but probably those just closest to me.
And what do you think would make you, I guess, what would make you more likely to reach out? Is there anything you can think of that would make you more likely to reach out to somebody you didn't know, or what would it be? Would it be a phone number? Would it be because we talk about it seems that there is some sort of stigma just even walking into a building that has anything to do with mental health, right?
Yeah.
So what could we do?
You know, I think it's all about the education of it, you know, kind of getting past the stigma where, you know, just making people feel comfortable to, you know, that it's okay to be experiencing things, and, you know, in life we're gonna go through our ups and downs and stuff like that, and it's okay to ask for help, it's okay to ask for support, because, you know, you're gonna need that in life.
I mean, I was even thinking this the other day, is that I feel like in our modern day society sometimes it's almost, we are made to feel guilty if we're not happy all the time, right? And I think that sometimes can be a little weighing on people, right? If you gotta smile all the time. I always think every time I go to Disneyland, man, I could not imagine being these people, having to smile 24/7, right? Because we know they're not having happy days all the time. So I mean, that's gotta be a big part. Well, girls, I mean, do you have anything else you want to say or add? I mean, again, we are just now kicking this off, because the Depression Grand Challenge is going to be huge. We want to study 1 million people and at least find a thing that separates people. I think for me, really, the hardest part is realizing that a lot of this is a big gray area, right? Because doctors really are very familiar with the clinical disorders, the schizophrenias, the bipolar disorders, but I think there's a lot of people who probably have depression and really don't know where to go or who to talk to. So yeah, I mean, do you guys have anything else, or?
Yeah, I think it's also really important that we make sure that we establish support systems all around us, just so that people know that they have someone there that they can talk to, just in all different spheres of our lives. And yeah, just to like kind of have other people there who might be able to notice things early on, to help out. Yeah.
Right on.
And even just go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that like if you see your friends and you think that something's going on with them, whether or not it's depression or if you're not sure, it doesn't hurt to reach out to them and ask if they need anything, if they need any help. If there's something, you know, there's no harm in helping somebody out, and that's your friend or just in your community. That's never gonna hurt somebody. And so if you feel like one of your friends is going through something and you feel like it might be depression, just ask them if they need anything or ask if they want to talk about it.
I feel it's like that old 90s thing. It's if you see something, say something, right? Because I mean, I do complain about that a lot. I think for a lot of us, we see a lot of problems but we just are overwhelmed by the problem sometimes, and we don't really know if we can do anything, right? But yeah, maybe it's just something as simple as just saying hi or asking if you're okay, right? Because I mean, we've all seen somebody who looks like they're having a bad day, right? And how many people are actually stopping to ask, are they having a bad day? Are you okay, right? So yeah, well girls, I appreciate it. And again, your names one more time here at UCLA, the best and brightest.
Gigi.
Elena.
Kayla.
All right, well thank you very much girls, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we will hope to see you later on when this thing gets off the ground and we're looking for people to help out.
All right, awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. Woo! My neck is getting a little hot and sweaty, but it's okay. Looks like there's a lot more people walking around now, so I'm sure we'll be able to grab some more people. But this is really, I'm glad for everyone who's logging on and listening to this. This is a very important Periscope. This is our very first Periscope, so give us a little break. But we are really just trying to talk about depression, because even in doing the few Periscopes I've done on this topic, there seems to be a lot of people who have a wide variety of depression disorders, right? So even when we talk about depression, what depression are we talking about? You know, it's my depression, it's your depression, it's their depression, it's everyone's depression, but it's all so unique and so different. So how do we treat it? We need to learn that each one of these individual depressions probably does need to be individually treated, right? And not treated with some sort of broad treatment. So I mean, because it's becoming a reality that antidepressants are extremely overused in the United States, and that's something that's a little scary, right? Because you don't want to become addicted to an antidepressant just to try to make yourself better. So we're here to try to figure out what is going on. Is there something else, and what can we do? Does anyone else like to talk? Or? Hi. How are we doing, Rach?
Good.
She back up?
The baby. She's a baby.
Okay.
Here, let me see. I might be able to put her down.
Huh?
I might be able to put her in this.
All right, we're working with a new baby, 6-week-old, as of tomorrow morning, 8:01 a.m.
Yep.
So we have a lot of learning. There's a big learning curve. Sorry, what is your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Shay. Nice to
Shay?
meet you.
Brendon,
Yeah.
very nice to meet you, Shay. So you're a student here?
Yes.
All right, so what year are you?
I'm a third year psych.
Psych major. Oh, psychology. So she's got all the answers. Perfect. We were looking for you this entire time.
No.
We can save our time with all the depression challenge.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing what you're doing on this campus. I was just a part of a USEC campaign that was fighting for more mental health. And,
Wait, so say again? What was it?
I was a part of a USEC campaign called Waves of Change. That was
Waves of Change?
Waves of Change, yeah.
Oh, Waves of Change.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were one of our platforms was to initiate more mental health and
Awesome.
resources on this campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so CAPS right here, like it got a rating of like a C-. And like for me as a student, that kind of is troubling because like I need these resources, especially when like finals week hit and I'm not really sleeping and like all the stress. And so yeah, I heard about someone came up to me and asked me about this, so I just wanted to see.
And this is what because I mean my thing as a scientist myself is trying to figure out, you know, the overall arching goal, really, because we want to help get rid of it, right? But first of all, maybe we need to understand it a little better. Yeah. You know, which I mean, you're obviously bringing up that if we're not doing it, maybe there's a lack of communication in terms of our understanding of depression itself.
Yeah.
What do you think would help you? I mean, what would you look for? I guess what would be better if you were to if you were to take over CAPS and they said you can do whatever you want. What do you think is going to make a difference with the students?
Well, I feel like definitely like more appointment availability, more peer talking, like on peer, because some of the counselors, like it's hard to connect with them.
Well, see, for me, even I'm somebody who heavily believes in peer count. Mm-hmm. Like I think it might be a little easier for me to talk to somebody sometimes I don't even know, and be a little more open and honest versus somebody who
I do know, because
you
don't want to feel judged.
You don't want to feel judged, and we even talked about just going into CAPS. If you walk into it, it's you're kind of afraid that you might see somebody there, or somebody knows you, and then they're gonna ask, "What's wrong with you? What are you doing?" Right?
Yeah. I've been like there too. It's just like I feel like it should be more open. Like something like this would be even better for people like who don't want to go into space. Yeah. They can like go in and tune in and see like live feeds and like videos of their regular peers like saying, "Oh my gosh, this is okay." Other people are going through what I'm going through too. Yeah. Because I feel like most of it is coming from like I feel like I'm different and people are gonna judge me because I am going through these problems and everyone else seems well put together, but it's just a facade. I feel like a lot of people are going through horrible things.
I like that word, facade.
Yeah.
Because I even heard somebody bring up the idea of Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about how you're so pressured nowadays to make yourself look happy all the time. So look at Facebook, right? Facebook is a perfect example. How many times you see people, I mean, every once in a while somebody's dying, right? Or somebody's passed away or something, but every other thing is something about being happy or something about being this and that, and everybody's life is so perfect. So it's a lot of pressure for us to try to be perfect, right?
Yeah, because you don't want to be like that Debbie Downer, like say like what's really going on through your mind, because like it's all about getting likes and everything like that, societal pressures to uphold that standard. But yeah, like I'm for me personally, I'm kind of like just really open. Like I'm just like, no.
And me too.
Like,
So
yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I'm like,
you know
sad.
what I mean? I've been on reality TV, so most of my stuff is on the internet anyway. So it doesn't really matter whether I say it or not.
Someone says preach on, girl.
All right.
Yeah, see, yeah, and like.
And Shay, one thing I noticed when I did Periscope about depression, I had a lot of people come up, and they're talking about their own depression. What would you say to somebody who's watching right now and feeling sad or feeling alone and feeling maybe shame? Because I think shame is a big part of depression too.
Yeah, like for me personally, my first 2 years here, it was really hard to like really express how sad I am, because it's really highly stigmatized in my African American community. But I feel like it shouldn't be, because we all go through difficult things, and what may not seem like a big thing to other people, it's big to you. At the end of the day, it's really you who needs to focus on it and who needs to pay attention, because at the end of the day, you always have yourself. So for me to tell them, I would say to always write down what you're feeling, always like try to express it any way that you can, because if you keep it locked up, what we've learned in my psych classes is that your emotions, like when you try to stifle them, they leak out into other forms of your life. So like how you react to people, how you think, your thoughts aren't going to go away. So get them out any way that you can. Always talk about it, because it's important to not stifle yourself, but like really just come to terms with who you are as a person, and to not feel bad about it, because
it's not. There's no shame.
It's your life.
There's no shame. Yes. And that's one thing that we keep coming across is the stigma, right? There still is a stigma. Nothing's wrong with you. If we poll people, how many people here have suffered depression, right? You're at a college,
sure
a university,
yeah.
A lot of us. So it's not unusual, and it shouldn't be unusual. And I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna bring some people into the
Well,
conversation.
Shay, give me a hug.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
It was nice meeting
I
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We hope to see you again.
Yes, for
because
sure.
we're just kicking this off. This is just starting.
It's just getting started.
Just getting started.
All right.
Come on in,
Hi,
bro.
come on in.
What's your name?
Al.
Al?
Yeah.
We can do a group talk too. Or
Yeah, come on
just
in. Come on in.
Starting a conversation.
The more the merrier. So we're talking about, well, first of all, let's introduce yourself, and the mic's not on, so it's just a prop. So you maybe talk a little louder.
Okay,
But
cool.
so your name is,
My name is Al.
and you're you're an undergrad here, graduate?
Yeah, I'm a
student?
fourth year bioengineering
All
student.
right, you're almost there.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I'm Des. I'm a fourth year physical chem major.
All right, you too.
Almost.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Keep your head down and the coffee up, right? So obviously we're talking about depression. So what do you guys? I mean, first of all, what is depression? I mean, I think that's the easiest place to start, right? What is depression?
That's a tough question. I think depression is a state of mind where maybe you feel hopeless and you feel like life, you lose joy in the things that make you happy. For sometimes there's a cause, sometimes it's a state of mind.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how I would describe it.
No, and you're not wrong. I mean, everybody. That's what I'm kind of figuring out is we all have our own kind of definitions.
Yeah. For me, I think I wouldn't define it how I hear it. I would define it how I feel it. And if I'm ever depressed, I'm more like in a fog. Like I can't see clearly, think clearly. What's logic to other people, to me, just is a fuzzy area. So I may feel sad for reasons people are like, you shouldn't be sad. And I'm like, but I feel sad. And that's, to me, what depression kind of is.
Someone just commented and said thanks for the transparency and talking about it.
Yeah, thank you. No, I mean,
Good
honestly.
feedback.
I mean, we're all students.
Because
we all go through.
we all.
I heard that.
And let me tell you, when you're a graduate student, it's like one chronic depression because you never feel like you're ever going to graduate.
Starting grad school next year.
Oh, are
so
you?
hopefully-
Okay, buckle in.
Yeah.
See, this is why you work on it now before you get there.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is. And that's why I think all of us need to figure out ways that help us with our mental health. I mean, we even talked about why don't we have a mental health day here at UCLA, right?
Yeah.
Just give us a Wednesday off in the middle of the quarter, right? And just call it mental health day where we all get a break.
Definitely make me happy.
Right? See?
Yeah.
There we go. We got 2 votes or 3 votes. So no, so maybe, so what would help you guys? I mean, because that's what really we need solutions. We're not just here to point out problems. We're trying to come up with solutions, and the doctors have their own way of doing this, right? Because you guys have studied science. We know how scientists look at it. We want to quantify everything. We want to I want a 1 and a 0. I need to be able to look at it on an Excel spreadsheet or on a graph, right?
Yeah.
And if I don't see that, it doesn't make sense to me. But we really need to pull out the public aspect of this, because the public is, the majority of the people are not scientists, and these are the people who are affected by depression. And right now, antidepressants are astronomically on the rise, right? People. So, what for you guys? What would do it? You know what I mean?
For me, this quarter I got like a bad set of tests. Like I studied hard, I thought I aced them, I got the grades back and they were bad, and I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
So I went into a little bit of depression, and I knew it was a feeling, and I couldn't understand why I was sad. So I went to CAPS, and I got an appointment. I saw someone for an hour, but then they told me the next time I could see him was a month later. But I was sad now.
Yeah.
So for me,
and that's a very good point. Thank you.
For me, I had no avenue. All I had were friends and family and people to talk to just reinforce what I already know is logic, but yet I can't see it. So for me, what would be great is if the counselors had more time. So if I'm having a momentary depression, just because life sucks at the moment, and I need someone to talk to maybe a couple times a week to shake me out of it, that can see me outside of myself, that isn't like a close friend, that's like outside of my circle, that would help me. But that here isn't an option.
Well, that's a very good.
And they have groups and they have classes, but the classes are 1 hour a week in the morning. That doesn't help me if I have class.
You mean your depression's not only 1 hour long?
Yeah. And then the groups are great, but you have to get a screening, and then it's a group of other people, and it's somewhat of a process. So
it just sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for someone who's going through a fog. Usually doesn't want to work at all.
Yeah.
You know, so it'd be nice to have a place to go where I could just like talk to someone, you know, a couple times a week and just let it out. Someone who could just hear me and help me through it.
And Al, thank you for talking, because we have had a lot of females come up and talk, which the prevalence of depression is higher in females, but it's also still very prevalent in males, right? So I mean, I appreciate it, because we need to be able to talk about it, right? Because we're men, we're manly men, and we're not supposed to talk about our weaknesses, right? And sometimes I think that mental health deficiency is viewed like a weakness. If you're depressed or you're sad, it's like, you know, or it's like a Band-Aid, right? Here, fix yourself, like just smile, right? I mean, what for you would help? Because I do think it's probably a little bit harder for us to step forward, right?
Someone says, I'm a male, I suffer from depression, and it's very real.
See?
Yeah, and I mean, I like hugely like respect that, you know, comment, because like I think like that was such a great, you know, kind of idea how to deal with it. But like what you said, you know, like even the Wednesday off idea, that's, you know, that has so many purposes. Like for one, it gives us a day off class, which is always awesome. But for two, like it makes you feel like the institution recognizes that, like it gets people thinking about it for just a day, even if it's slightly, just that the institution recognizes that it is an issue, and that other people, because like you were talking about the rise of antidepressants, right?
Yeah.
It's just my guess, but I feel like many more people take antidepressants than maybe would, you know, go out in public and, you know, feel comfortable saying so.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So, but it's like when you I hear this a lot, when you break an arm, you know, it's a physical injury, so nobody would ever think twice about saying, like you need to get treatment. But when it's like invisible, when it's depression, then for some reason it becomes something that people are a lot more skeptical of. People are a lot more maybe judgmental of. But I mean, you know, we're in college, and I feel like, you know, the point is to be as, you know, intellectually and as, you know, socially like productive as possible. And how can you do that, like when you're saying like when you're in a fog?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well,
it's
like,
really in collective interest to like.
Well, and even for me, I got to a couple years ago, I got to see it for neuroscience, and watching all these students that come up to be meds. They want to be med students, right? So they're pre-med. And it's like they're so focused and so intense, and it's like everybody's their enemy, right? And I feel like in some ways in academia we're breeding this kind of environment, right? We're pushing. We want more out of less, right? We want you to work more for less pay, or more time. I mean, more information in less time, right? I mean, how much information do we have in academia, and we're still on a 4-year schedule, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right? But most people are graduating in 5 years still.
Yeah.
You know.
We have Sydney here, who's also going to join the conversation.
You guys are awesome. Really. Give me a hug. I'm hugging people today. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Honestly,
this is really good.
the openness and the honesty. I mean, you might help somebody.
Yeah.
I also like that was a good talk.
I hate hitting roadblocks, and I needed help. and I didn't find help here. I went to all my friends and I exercised and I went to the gym and I ate right and I ate ice cream and hot Cheetos and I went back to the gym and I just kept doing what made me feel good, and I had to remind myself that, yeah, okay, I scored a little lower than the curve, but I can do better the next time. But I didn't have that help here, and this is a great institution, and that kind of bummed me out, you know, but it is what it is.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, that's the whole point of this, is to fix things, right? Make things better.
Yeah.
So, the openness and honesty is very much appreciated.
Yeah, you got to treat yourself sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, more often than people do, I think.
I know.
Really
We should all have a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos every once in a while.
Yeah.
Right, well, have a good weekend.
And make sure we wash our hands after.
Yeah. Good luck at finals. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good to meet you.
And you're almost there. Hang on. Hi.
This is Sydney.
Sydney, Brendon.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. And I am a PhD student here. Are you?
I'm undergraduate.
All
I'm
right.
a third-year communications major.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That means you're very good at talking. I like that.
Thank you.
Very clear. So why don't you tell us? Wait, is Sydney or
Sydney, like Australia?
Sydney, yeah. Just double checking. So, what is depression?
Well, I personally suffer from mental illness. So I've never had depression, but having a mental illness, you have to be educated on everything.
Yeah.
So to me, depression it's a state that you're not yourself when you're in that state. And people need to understand that it's not something you should throw around. Oh, I'm so depressed today.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah.
there's such a huge stigma. So.
And no, I agree. And
Yeah.
I even think that's a word that I overuse. I think a lot of people
Everyone
overuse,
does
right?
because they don't think about it.
They don't think
you know?
about it. They don't think it's depression is a real thing, right?
Right,
It's
yeah.
just this thing that you kind of feel from time
Yeah.
to time and then it's over.
Yeah.
And they don't have any clue about people who actually suffer from real depression.
Exactly. I'm actually in a club, All of Us, here on campus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's a campaign to end mental health. And we've had 3 town halls this year. I hosted the last one this quarter.
Wow.
And, you know, the turnout is okay, but it's not what we'd like because people don't care when it comes to mental health.
They don't,
You know?
well,
And it's
we
sad.
don't care until it's us.
Exactly.
Or it's too
yeah.
late, right?
And they don't know that just because you don't have a mental illness doesn't mean you can't have mental health.
Yeah.
You know, everyone needs mental health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, well, I got to see it for a neuroscience class a couple, maybe about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And one of my most favorite things that a professor did was in the middle of class, he would have a mental health break, and he would put on, you could send in pictures, so he'd put your picture up every once in a while, and we'd all just take like 10 minutes and goof off, somebody go grab water, but it just gave you a time to like take a little breather.
Yeah.
We have a
relax.
comment that says some people don't even know they have depression, they just think it's a stage they're going through.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are scared to admit that they have it too, because there's still such a big stigma.
Yeah.
With everything with mental health.
Yeah.
They're scared to admit because they think it's crazy or not normal.
When we were even talking about like even just on Facebook, right? Facebook's
Yeah.
so good at telling you how great everyone else is,
Exactly.
right?
And you compare yourself to
And you
others.
do. We all have these rulers that we're living our lives by.
Yeah.
And that I think is a sad part because
It is.
it helps. It prevents us from really knowing ourselves.
Yeah.
And I always say, my wife and I were on the TV show Big Brother.
I know. Yeah.
So we were locked in a house
Yeah.
for 3 months, and everyone's out to get you.
Yeah.
And then you get thrown back in the world, and it's just like
Right.
shock. And we both suffer from depression afterwards because you just everyone's it's amazing.
different world.
It's a different world,
Yeah.
and a lot of people didn't understand what we were going through because you know why? They see us on TV, they think life is great and
Yeah.
everything's great, and I think that's probably true for a lot of people. I'm sure there's a lot of people who suffer from depression who are bright, who are chipper, who are happy, who are outgoing, and you think that they have it all together, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I think the big
It's not
problem
always the
is.
case.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I suffer from generalized anxiety, but I don't have social anxiety. So when
Yeah.
I tell people that, they're like, "Oh, you don't have anxiety," but they don't understand there's multiple
Yeah.
facets to it. You know.
And you're probably one of the few who understands themselves, right?
Yeah. Well, it took a while,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
finally being open about
No,
it.
now maybe this is a better question because you would probably be able to answer. So what would help somebody who maybe was wondering if they had depression? I mean, really, because you said it took you a while,
Yeah.
really to recognize it, and probably is
Right.
because of that social stigma.
Yeah.
So what would help you?
Well, what helped me, because I researched it by myself first.
Yeah.
I also have emetophobia, which no one knows about, and that's the fear of other people throwing up
Yeah.
or yourself. So I researched it a lot by myself, and I wouldn't admit it because it's scary. And then I think what made me really admit it is 2 of my favorite journalists, Matt Lauer and Elizabeth Vargas, have that.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and so that's kind of like, okay, if they have it and they're living life, I can too.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing is more people.
Someone says I have that same fear.
Really? Oh wow.
See?
Yeah, it's great to know that.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah. See, it's good to know you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because when you think you're alone, you don't want to tell people.
Yeah, so
You
maybe
know?
it is something about normalizing this, right?
Exactly. There shouldn't be a stigma.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
make you different.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
crazy, you know?
Well, first of all, everyone is different, right?
Exactly, yeah.
If we haven't found this out via
Yeah.
genetics or via whatever, we're all different. None of us are the same.
And I think people should know that your mental illness can make you stronger.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah.
It's not a hindrance. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are even people that even postulate the idea that maybe depression evolutionarily
Yeah.
was designed to help you learn. Because when you break your foot, you
Right.
can't walk, and your body says, "Guess what? You can't move,
Yeah.
and I'm not letting you." But when you know, maybe to some degree, depression was initially an evolutionary characteristic
Yeah.
designed to help you say, "Oh, that made me feel bad. Let's not do that again."
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know. Life changes. Genetics change. So who knows? But even from a science standpoint, there's so much. I study the brain, and let me tell you, there are very few things that we know for certain within the brain. And the rest of it is just a real guess, because we got a black box. We inject drugs into that black box, and we wait for something to happen. And when it happens, we say, "Oh, it worked," or "Oh, it didn't."
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But beyond that, we don't really understand. And I think for a lot of diseases, the major thing, advancements in even treating these diseases are going to be able to understand them.
Right.
Because if we don't
Exactly.
understand them, we can't treat them.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah. And that's
You
why I
know?
think the Grand Challenge is great.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Talking to Elizabeth Gongai about it, because she's come to the town halls. Yeah.
All right.
So,
We love Liz Gongai.
yeah, hopefully next year with my club we can get more of the Grand Challenge.
Well, we're going to get everyone involved.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
that'd be
ultimate
great.
goal. And even just increasing awareness. So in
Right.
something as simple as this.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, well here, I'm giving them hugs
Thank
now.
you.
Especially for people that are sharing a lot. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Sorry, and what was your name again? One more
Sydney.
time.
Sydney Walls.
Sydney
Yeah.
Walls?
Yes, like the four around you.
All right.
I like that.
Okay, you got me. And we're at UCLA. Yeah, we're all done?
Thanks.
Well, no, I mean, I think we've been going for a while.
Yeah.
So, but I want to thank everyone for being here, and everyone else and everyone, why don't you pop in? For all these people that are involved, why don't you come in? So it's obviously not just me and not just Rachel. We have all these people that are helping out, and this really is the ultimate goal, right? Because you can't be grand by yourself.
That's right.
So we need everyone to be grand.
It's a big team.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of these periscopes, so please make sure you follow us. If you're not following right now, make sure you follow this periscope. The name of it is
At UCLA, Think Grand. And thank you so much to Brendon and to Rachel. We really appreciate them.
Yeah.
And you guys all hang in there. We know that depression is such a huge issue, and UCLA is really doing something to work on it. So again, we thank you guys so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey,
for being here.
Thank us by getting rid of depression.
Yep. That's up to you, scientists.
There we go. All right, folks. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye.